Hello! Welcome to the second Antiracist fundraiser live stream concert. Thank you so much for choosing to spend this part of your day with us. We have a really exciting show ahead for the next many hours, half a day. A lot of really cool artists all around the country. And not only all around the country, but this is our first internationalist concert, which I'm so excited about. We have a band joining us from Santiago, Chile, who will be playing at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And they're going to share with us an anti-racist perspective out of Chile. So stay tuned for that. So we're going to be sharing music, and we're also going to be learning a little bit about modern-day slavery and raising money for an abolitionist organization that is fighting the prison industrial complex. But I'll get into all of that a lot more later. And I'm going to start out by just playing a couple of songs for you guys. So I'm Hannah Rooth, if we haven't met. My band is called Wild Hum. Today I'm just playing the solo renditions of our music. And this first song I'm going to play was our first release. It's called Divorce in the Water. to you. Do whatever you need to do. Do whatever you need to do. Thank you. That's Divorce in the Water. How was the sound, Will? Good? Okay, great. I hope that you guys are enjoying the music. Divorce in the Water is a song off of our first Wild Hum album, which is also named Wild Hum. And next I'm going to play for you a more recent release called Strong and Tender. Meet me in the middle of the ocean. Take me to the bottom of the sea. Show me all the things you keep inside you. Let your thunder and your rain wash over me. See, I didn't come to take your heart for granted. No, I hold it like a beggar holds his purse. And I can't pretend I don't need you inside me, 'cause I'm aching for you so badly. It hurts, but you can't say I'm less strong, because I am more tender. I'm the wood the water beats, and I float in a hurricane, and this old heart belongs where sometimes light don't enter. I'm like a cave that catches rain. I can hold the pain. You're not the only thing I fall in love with. No, I break each time the world's beneath my feet. But I'm out here, barefoot walking, 'cause I love the way the dirt keeps stripping me. Oh, but when I hold you, darling, I will hold you only. Just the way I hold the whole world in my chest. And when I touch you, darling, I won't touch you lonely. No, 'cause I'm the moon that catches sunlight from your breast and you can't say I'm less strong, because I am more tender. I'm the wood the water beats, and I float in a hurricane, and this old heart belongs where sometimes light don't enter. I'm like a cave that catches rain. I can hold the pain. Thank you so much. That song is called Strong and Tender, and I will be playing it again later on the show with the fully produced backing track, so it'll sound a little different. Hope you can tune in for that as well. That'll be at 9 o'clock Pacific time. But for now, we're gonna move on and learn a little bit more about the reason that we're here today. I hope that you'll stay and watch this quick 4-minute video I'm gonna play about slave labor. It's called "Is Slave Labor Still Legal in America?" And then I'll share a little more about our organization that we're raising funds for today called Critical Resistance. And I hope you'll make a donation before you leave the show. Thanks a lot.
So, I got caught off guard by something recently. It has to do with the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which abolished slavery. The amendment reads, in part, "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, shall exist within the United States." All of that made perfect sense to me, minus this one part, except as a punishment for crime. Basically, that says you can punish a criminal with slavery. And we do, all over the country, all the time. It's called prison labor. We're all sort of familiar with the idea. Prisoners making license plates is the classic example, but that is the tip of the iceberg. Across the country, convicts do work in carpentry, sewing, mining, packaging, firefighting, telemarketing, fish farming, and artisanal cheese making. That last one is why this is back in the news. Whole Foods took some flack for selling felon-made cheese, and at a pretty hefty markup. Now, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, this isn't inherently a problem.
Most prisoners want to work, and jobs for prisoners can be a very positive thing.
That's David Fauti from the ACLU's National Prison Project.
But given the vast power inequality between prisoners and their employers, there's also a real potential for exploitation and abuse.
That potential is grounded in the fact that this really is slave labor. Inmates can be forced to work as long as they're deemed fit, and can be punished if they don't, including, in some cases, with solitary confinement. And then there's the question of money. We don't have to pay prisoners a dime for their work. Some states do require that prisoners are paid, but courts have consistently ruled that any pay is, quote, by the grace of the state. In other words, just to be nice. Meaning, more broadly, that prisoners are highly vulnerable.
Prisoners can't unionize. If they're injured or killed on the job, in most states they're not protected by workers' compensation. So all of this creates a situation where the usual checks on employer exploitation and abuse simply don't operate.
This all means that there's no consistency in what prisoners are paid for those cheese wheels and telemarketing calls. Pay scales range from nothing to around the federal minimum wage, but many are paid under $1 an hour. And that can give the state what Fauti calls a perverse incentive to keep the prison population high.
Last year, when California was ordered to release some prisoners to relieve overcrowding, the state actually argued against it on the ground that it would reduce the state's access to prisoner labor.
Things get more uncomfortable when you consider that America does not have a great track record when it comes to prison labor. After the Civil War, southern states struggled with a sudden lack of slave labor, thanks to the 13th Amendment. And their solution, in part, was to use that same clause, except as a punishment for crime, as a loophole. Many states passed broadly racist vagrancy laws that allowed authorities to pick up blacks on charges like loitering, imprison them when they couldn't pay fines, and lease them out en masse to places like plantations. In other words, the South got its slaves back. This system of convict leasing wasn't totally abolished until 1941. Back here in 2015, though, what are we supposed to think about prison labor? Prisoners are treated light years better today, whether they're working or not. But there are also so many more of them. Our prison system has exploded since the 1980s, giving America far and away the biggest prisoner population in the world. And that population is racially skewed in the extreme. Around 40% of prisoners are black, even though only about 13% of the country is overall. The 13th Amendment, the abolition of slavery, that happened 150 years ago. And now, 150 years later, we have this prison system instead. And according to David Fauti, we should think hard about why we do.
The purpose of incarceration should be to protect public safety, not to provide a captive labor force for the government.
Thank you for watching, everyone, and thanks for rating our channel. I don't know who you guys are, but I'm glad you're here. Today we're doing a 6 to 9 hour long live stream raising money for anti-racist work. And on the back of that video about the super heartbreaking reality of slave labor that's still taking place in the US, I want to share about Critical Resistance, which is the alternative, the organization that we're here to raise funds for. So I want to just read to you guys the mission statement of Critical Resistance. Critical Resistance seeks to build an international movement to end the prison industrial complex by challenging the belief that caging and controlling people makes us safe. We believe that basic necessities such as food, shelter, and freedom are what really make our communities secure. As such, our work is part of global struggles against inequality and powerlessness. The success of the movement requires that it reflect communities most affected by the prison industrial complex. Because we seek to abolish the prison industrial complex, PIC, we cannot support any work that extends its life or scope. So many of us on this stream today can't imagine what it would be like to live in a cage and be forced to labor with no pay. But I want to challenge you today and during this event to imagine what it would be like to have your freedom stripped from you, your dignity stripped from you. Will you please make a donation to the work of Critical Resistance? We must end this madness. Your donation will be doubled today by a very generous donor. So go ahead and hit the button. And now we're going to move to our next act, Cademo, who'll be on for about 20 minutes.